YouTube? It is Magic Mistress here today with a video that is talking about divine forms that you may have in space. These forms are connected to your soul in space, and this is different than on Earth. We have the soul, the body, the mind, the spirit. In space, it's all one thing. Your soul is your body. And this is why we hear the ideology on Earth talking about how we are the tree, we are the grass, we are nature. It's all of us as one, the law of oneness. This originally comes from space. Your unique form, I don't want to call it a body, I want to call it a form, is connected with your psychic abilities that you have on this earth, connected with your life path, your natural instincts, and it's also connected with the way that you live, go about your life in space, which is actually happening right now because we're in a dream. But I'm not going to go there today. So, we're going to first start off with dragons. And I want to say that dragons and dracos, they can be um, mixed together in this one idea, and I just want to debunk that because not all dragons are bad. Like, a lot of them are really good, and they're really strong people that we actually need in society to help us make things a reality. So, I wanted to get that out of the way because, yes, they are a reptile form, but they are not a, I can't say the word, but like the real crocodile stuff. So just want to get that out of the way. I'm going to give some ways that you can identify with this part of yourself if it sounds familiar. Usually dragons have a moon and rising sign that is the same. And I'm talking about astrology. So your rising sign is your ascendant, and your moon sign is determined on the day you were born and the time. Usually the day is the most important with that, and your rising sign, you need to have the time to figure it out. So usually they have the moon and the rising sign that is the same because the moon is your emotions, your innate instincts, and your rising sign is your presentation of yourself. And usually dragons do not have the energy to be fake. So they are authentically themselves, and if they're not, they're just reserved, they're quiet, but they are definitely not two-faced. If they are being two-faced, it's because they're not aware of it, they haven't figured themselves out yet. They can go through lots of periods of self-transformation where they change from a completely different person into a whole other being, mentally and physically. They can change form a lot. Their life purpose is to live authentically, and this changes people's lives by the way they observe them. They choose themselves first by default and sometimes lack regard on how others feel. An unevolved dragon may be arrogant, an evolved one is self-involved yet humble. So their purpose on earth is to really be themselves, believe in their ideas, be self-righteous and confident in everything they believe in, and people see this and it inspires other people to do the same. They naturally value themselves first. They may not want friends, they may not desire relationships unless it's for a sexual need for themselves. The dragon energy is masculine and feminine, and both sides of it are extreme sides. So we know that both sides have different receptivity versus dominance, and sexual energy is associated with both sides. So that's why I'm saying that they really, if they're in a relationship, it needs to be for their own fulfillment sexually. They're not really like emotionally attached people. I'm not saying that they can't have like emotional connections, but if they're not getting what they need to get, then they can't have the emotional connection to begin with. If you are a dragon, you may have had people always looking at you when you walk in a room, always talking about you, even though you stay out the scenes. Like, you just find that everyone is obsessed with you, and you just have this natural magnetism for money in your life. And a lot of dragons, they grow up with a family that doesn't have that much money, but then that creates the wanting for it in the future. And if they did grow up with it, they want to keep that going. I have never met a dragon so far in my life that is not completely involved with the materialistic gain that they want to see themselves in. So, materials are very, very important for dragons. Up in space, they are able to go to all the 12 dimensions. And the 12 dimensions is all the states of consciousness, which means that they can even go to like the really dark states, and certain forms cannot go there. They are able to travel everywhere, and this is manifested in this life as their never-ending need for travel. They always want something different. They love the water, they love the heat, they love everything that is like extreme. And having that materialisticness in their life is quantity, right? They want a lot of things. And that is the manifestation of what it's like to travel to 12 dimensions, because you're experiencing a lot of things, you're seeing a lot. So there are people that they need a lot in this physical world, and they value their home and freedom the most. These people love freedom, they need it. They love working out. Like, these people are strong. Like, I know this one dragon that she says when she was 6 years old, she could literally like lift up this car and move it. Like, they are extremely strong. So they really value their physical strength. They really value their physical appearance. They may give a lot of attention to physical aspects of life. Usually these people felt misunderstood, so that's why they have a really strong home in themselves. They don't need validation from other people or stimulation even. They are completely okay with just being by their lonely, which to them is never loneliness, it's only being alone. And they exist in a realm outside of Earth, whether it's in their thoughts or their psychic abilities. There's a lot going on in their inner world, and it's all about themselves. So these people are always thinking about how can they better themselves, their future, what new things can they try. They really get sucked into things that concerns their beliefs, and these people can also be more prone to emotional outbursts because they are very in touch with themselves, and anything that starts to feel wrong or like it's not there, they can express that because they have that connection to themselves almost all the time. By others, they may be seen as unreliable, very cold and independent, like they're not there for anyone else but themselves. And this is only because they have to be their main focus, because that's their purpose. Like, them being their main focus inspires other people to do the same. They don't like to be bored, and they adapt really well to change. They love change. These people love change. Like, it doesn't matter how chaotic it is, they are ready to go. They are ready to fly, like literally on a plane. They are just ready to go, ready to fight if there's ever a moment where they need to defend themselves. If they don't have a maverick on the descendant line, they have it somewhere else in their chart. And this is because of that powerful presence when they walk in a room. They don't have to talk to be powerfully seen because of this maverick. It just showcases their energy to everyone. And if you don't know what a maverick is, it is the point in a astrological chart that a planet is directly on top of a MC, IC, ASC, or DC. They're concrete in their beliefs and can change their mind rapidly because of that connection with themselves. And they have a good reason to back up their quickness. They can be seen as flighty, non-reliable. Some of them have bipolar too because of how quickly they can change their minds. But whenever you ask them the reason about why they're changing their mind, it usually makes sense. They have that really strong knowing of who they are, what they want to do. And this usually changes rapidly. They don't ever want to do the same thing for the rest of time. They do not hesitate to cut people off, and they only have people in their life if they are of value to them. I spoke on that earlier with like the sexual needs thing. Same with friends. They only have them if they're valuable in their life. So usually their friends are business partners or people they want to look up to, or people they can get something from. It's not just for having friends. They are not those type of people. And if anything, if something feels like that, they will usually cut that person off. So because they can travel to all 12 dimensions, they have psychic knowledge that is accessible to them at any time, even in their human self. And this is a very powerful thing about dragons, and most of them keep this knowledge internal, and when the right person is around, they can speak about this knowledge, but a lot of them have just downloads that come to them so frequently that they can know about things in the future. So dragons are very, very powerful. They are not to be underestimated. I do think it's one of the most, if not the most, powerful form in space because they can travel to all the 12 dimensions. They have extreme access to psychic knowledge in the real world, even in their human self. And I also wanted to talk about the colors, the forms, all of that they can come in. They do have the natural body of a dragon, but I'm also seeing that ones that are home to water can have more of a aquatic body. So instead of like the reptile scales and all that, they can have more of like fish scales. I'm seeing like purple, green, or red and orange. Um, the red and orange ones, they really are usually the males because that's really fiery energy, and that's the masculine energy. The females are usually green or purple, and you can also find out what color is uniquely yours by your undertones in your skin. So if you are someone that naturally has more blue or purple tone skin, then that's usually your dragon form. If you're someone that has purple and red tone skin, you can have both colors. It's just going to show you the different variations of your form in space. And I also want to say that dragons, you can recognize them by their face. So if you are someone that you have a elongated jaw, you don't have to exactly have like a jaw problem, but your face looks different than other people. You can have like a more prominent lower half of your face. So if your nose is bigger, if your jaw is more prominent, if you have bigger teeth, all of these are the signature dragon look. They are usually built, they have bigger bones, they may work out to have muscles, but even if they don't work out, you can just tell they're bigger boned people, and they can have a lower voice. So that is all about the dragons. I will see you in the next video.